Hey guys, Melvin here. Welcome to the attic. We're going to be reading a story from the RPGhorrorstories subreddit. This one was posted by user ClosetBat8. It's about a player who manages to run through the greatest hits of that guy traits, while only being around for 2 sessions. By the way, if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to know when I upload new videos. Now, without further ado, let's check it out. First time poster here. I have just ended a long-running D&D 5e campaign, spanning a year and a half with characters going from level 3 to level 20. To celebrate this, I wanted to share a horror story of a player we had, who in the span of 2 sessions, managed to raise about every red flag in the book in a that guy speedrun. To give some background, I started a game in my college's tabletop club, centered around recruiting fellow freshmen into a game I was running to make some new friends. Because of this, about half of our players had never played the game before, so when someone reached out to me saying they had experience both DMing and playing the game, I was excited to have some experienced help in the group. Unfortunately, this player, who we'll call Thunder, was anything but helpful. To start, we had 7 members in the party including Thunder, but the only 2 that are relevant are our party druid and artificer. Within the first 30 minutes of meeting up to discuss character creation, the red flags were already being raised at incredible speeds. Thunder, with no prior heads up, asks me if they can play Matt Mercer's gunslinger class, which I was unfamiliar with at the time. After rushingly looking it over, I approved it. However, as soon as the class is approved, Thunder requests to start with a gun that can do somewhere in the ballpark of 2d6. I explained that this is pretty overpowered at level 3, and additionally guns are fairly rare in my setting. However, after some arguing, I allow them to have a broken version of this gun to give their character motivation, as well as a reason to talk with our party artificer. After this, Thunder begins to try and persuade me into allowing them to use a homebrew furry, or half-cat race, that I pretty quickly banned because the race was beyond OP, despite what the player was arguing. Mind you, readers, this is all in the half hour before session 1, and we still are not done with all the red flags. The next thing Thunder does is begin to sort through his mountain of dice he brought with him. Thunder begins to lay out his massive collection, taking up a good half of the table meant to be shared by 7 people, and pushes our start time back by at least another 30 minutes as he tests which d20s will roll best. But after his dice gauntlet, we can finally start the game. Right away, Thunder's tabaxi begins to act as edgelordy as possible, refusing to talk to anyone even as the party loads into a cart together to do a mission for the local church. The only time Thunder does talk is to ask if their character can find a gunsmith to fix up his broken firearm, to which I reminded him that guns are rare and there wouldn't be a gunsmith in this smaller town. This, however, does not stop them from asking me again anytime I have time to take a breath. As the party moves out of town in order to investigate some orcs using some old castle ruins as a hideout, along the road they meet a map-making NPC. Immediately, Thunder attempts to stealth out of the cart and pickpocket the dude, which goes poorly, and the map-maker notices and is scared off. I normally wouldn't have a problem with this kind of action from a player, but I remembered that they only had a small bonus to their stealth and sleight of hand rolls, and were not proficient, which to me kind of signified that this character, no matter the situation, would always start trouble. After this, some time passes, and Thunder's character continues to not talk to anyone, act edgy, and do things recklessly on their own. This comes to a climax after the party beats the orcs and finds a magical staff in the castle ruins. The staff is found by the party druid, who begins to try and figure out what it does. Thunder's character quickly runs up and asks if they can take a quick look at the item, to which the druid reluctantly agrees. Thunder's character then begins to try and attune to the item, which I said numerous times would not work, and continuously ignore our party druid when she asks for her item back. Eventually, the druid gets fed up with the bullcrap and casts Entangle on Thunder's character just long enough to retrieve the staff and then releases her. After this, Thunder's character does what any sane party member would do, and responds by shooting a gun at our druid. After a very brief battle that has made me as a DM shy away from allowing PvP going forward, the druid knocks out her trigger-happy party member, ties them up, and loads them in the back of the cart. The party returns to the church and collects payment. However, because the map maker reported that a very recognizable tabaxi had robbed him in broad daylight, Thunder takes a reduce in pay. Because of all these factors, Thunder is acting very pissy, in and out of game, trying to play the role of a victim who can't trust the party that attacked them. Mind you, Entangle does no damage, especially compared to a gunshot. From this point on, the situation goes from tense to hostile. While the Artificer is attempting to calm Thunder down, the druid wild shapes into a stray cat to listen in on their conversation, which is happening out in public. At this point, Thunder is staring daggers at the druid's player and is begging me to allow them to make any roll to metagame the druid's wild-shaped disguise. When I obviously refuse, they attempt to just full-out curb stomp the druid, which in character appears to be a random stray cat. I try and stop him, but he already rolls dice and hilariously misses by a good margin. After this, Thunder claims in a very serious tone that he is rolling a D2 with disadvantage to see if their character will stay with the party, really trying to ham up this decision when in the back of my mind, I have more or less decided to kick them from the group anyway. Unfortunately, they get the 25% chance, and in character says they will stay with the party. However, just to put the final cherry on their perfect that guy speed run, tells me they are quitting the game before I can kick them after only 2 sessions. I would like to conclude by saying I have no hard feelings for Thunder, and our party nowadays looks back on these incidents and laugh. TLDR, player manages to power game, be an edgelord, steal, endanger the party, shoot a player, cause party PvP, and metagame all over the course of 2 sessions. I don't even know where to begin with this one. The belligerent and deliberate disrespect towards OP and the party is one thing, but these traits should be familiar to any that know the core tenets of that guy behavior. This almost feels like an evolved, accelerated version. What really sets it off is when Thunder gets the slightest pushback to their hostility towards the other players at the table, when Druid dared use their abilities to get that item back from Thunder, resulting in the ensuing spite spiral. These scenarios never cease to amaze me. I have to admit though, that ending was pretty satisfying. As in most That Guy stories, speedrunning D&D as the most obnoxious solo game ever doesn't usually end well. Alright everyone, that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining me here in the attic. Take care of yourselves out there. This is Melvin, in the attic, signing out.